Good morning. It is another day of working outside the shop. Let me show you. So last week we drove this around the yard and in and out of the shop. Today we're going to take it around the block. And before we can do that, we have a little problem. Well, it's not a problem, but it is a situation. None of these bolts are tight. So we're going to put the crew on this to tighten this up, and then we're going to head around the block.
Okay, everything looks tight. Let's go find my dad and take this thing around the block.
To the spud truck.
Woo. Do the brakes work?
Do the brakes work, he says.
It rides nice.
It does.
Yeah.
Want to take it to the top of the world right now?
I do, desperately.
Do the brakes work? The brakes work, he says.
Oh boy. Whoa.
Oh, I'm glad that wasn't a stop sign.
Brakes don't work very well.
You ain't grinding gears, you ain't driving.
I'm just feeling for stability right now. Oh, this thing is rock steady, solid, man. This is gonna be so stable.
I hope so.
Oh, can you feel it? Like,
Yeah, I feel like we've remained level this entire time.
Yeah. And now we successfully taken it on its first test drive. We met it back to the shop.
We made
all right,
it.
we gotta take it all apart now.
Oh.
So we're gonna have him take Sweet Caroline off. We're gonna be taking the bed off. We're gonna be separating the bed. We're gonna be doing a few more modifications before we stack it back up where it goes. I've got some phone calls to make sure that this keeps rolling, and that keeps rolling, and the project in here keeps rolling. This is the project in here that I've got to keep rolling. I've got to get this out of here so we can get the spud truck back in here. And as you can see, we are in pieces.
We de-bedded the spud truck.
It's de-bedded. You heard it here first. It's been de-bedded. So we're gonna take this thing, strip it down. These rails are gotta go. This boom has gotta go. We got a lot of freshening up in this region. Colin is an archaeologist. He is unearthing the bolts.
Literally unearthing metal as we speak.
As you can see, here's a crustacean. All right, we're gonna throw a time lapse on. We're gonna get this thing all prepped and cleaned up and stripped down and just all around fresh. So I might have lied to you guys. Before we get going on this, it's about 103 today. So I'm gonna build these guys a fort for myself and them. Keep us up out of this index. Keep us, that didn't make no sense. Keep us out of the sun. I set these guys up in pure luxury. Nothing but the finest for the MORR crew. So we got them a tent. I put a fan. I got a little mister action with the misty sauce.
Thank you, Jake.
Let's get to it. Colby approves.
Look at those.
Look at these. Watch out, Peanut. What you think? Look at these race lines.
Goodness.
Goodness.
Hardware is, oh my goodness.
All right, let's see if we can do what we've never done before, and that's put the correct side out. I need a clean shirt. Paint us a happy little tire. We're gonna need some anti-seize.
I wonder how we did across the sand so well. Go and check it.
Okay, just drop them all in there and I'll go around in a minute. All right. There it is. Ta-da! Yay! These are massive. I'm a little bit worried about them actually fitting. We might be doing some fender trimming on the spud truck. Let's take them out there and see how they look.
Let's do it.
I like that idea.
So this is the front tire.
Oh, the camera
Running-
does not do it justice.
Running 488 gears, and those are the back tires running 410.
Oh my goodness, they're beautiful.
Yeah, we're not gonna have to do much trimming at all. We're looking at the bed, and the bed's plenty long, and it's kind of a little bit proportions are off. We're actually gonna be cutting another 8 inches off the bed and sliding it forward. You'll see. Don't worry about it. It's gonna work out good. Rhett and Carter are out there working on the bed, getting it all cleaned up. There's some brackets to take off. There's a bunch of goo on there that's just terrible. We've got to rebuild the sliders and everything. Peanut, I saw you looking. You just about jumped up on the table, didn't you? So while they're doing that, we're gonna be in here putting the engine together for the pre-runner so that we can get that out of the shop, in the desert, racing, practice racing, play racing, pretend racing. Okay, you caught me. So we're not building a race engine. This is gonna be just a really basic, we're gonna be using some used parts, we're gonna be using some new parts. We just need a running engine to drive that thing. And I wish I had a clean room to do this in, but I don't, so we're doing it here. I put a little bit of oil on the back of those so the bearings can settle in when we crimp them and crush them. It is controversial, not everybody does it, I do it. Now, you'll notice at home, these are used bearings, and that's okay. They will be just fine. If you go out in your car, take your engine apart, you will see used bearings in there.
Look at that beautiful thing.
Okay. Will you get me some WD-40 and a 1/2-inch fine thread bolt and a wrench with which to twist it?
I gotcha.
This is
the honey?
This is some engine assembling lube from like 1980.
What's the expiration date on that?
Good vintage.
I have no idea. It's probably out of spec and it's probably going to ruin my motor. But I think it has some zinc and phosphorus in it.
Wow.
This is a vintage sauce right here.
Vintage.
Okay, look at that. So it's already floating on there. So theoretically, as we spin this, this crank starts hydroplaning and it's not touching anything.
That's crazy.
Okay, let's get that camshaft. Okay, so we'll rotate this over and see how the timing mark looks perfect. But if you imagine in your head, this is what I'll do. I'm like, okay, I know that this engine turns this direction, right? I know there's a piston on the end of this, and I know that these are the cam lobes that do it. So I'm going compression, and both valves are closed. It goes all the way to the bottom. The exhaust valve starts to open right here. And as this comes up, it's pushing the exhaust out. Gets right up to the top, and the intake starts to open. And now this is on its intake stroke. So that lets me know that I've got the right timing marks on the cam. This is Iski sauce. So this goes on the lobes. You're supposed to put it on with a brush. I put it on with my finger. And you know why I do? Because I'm lazy. We have brushes for this. We do. We have a whole cupboard full of brushes.
Yeah, those are like 10 feet away.
This is cam assembly, or this is for the first few minutes. Now this is a used cam, but it is in excellent condition. And you don't need much of this. I put plenty on there. I've seen people just go crazy with this. You don't need to because it's gonna get wiped off like immediately. You just want it there for the first few rotations and then it's gonna be replaced by oil. If I wanna start a war, I'll talk about what good oil and what oil you should run. I'll just tell you that what I run, you can run whatever you want. When I'm breaking an engine in, I use the Valvoline VR1 10W30. It is a racing oil with plenty of zinc and all the other things that a flat tappet cam needs to survive. And then after the engine is broke in, if I care about the engine, I'll switch to an AMSOIL Z-Rod and I'll run a 1030 or a 1040 or 2050 depending on the application. And in a pinch, I'll run anything. All right, here's a Corvair controversy. If you're a Corvair guy, you've probably heard of this. If you're an engine builder, you're into that at all. I put a dab of sealant here, a dab of sealant here, and a dab of sealant here. And people say, GM never did it. It's not in, I've never seen it in any assembly manual. The 1969 assembly manual, they started doing that. Because they leak here, they leak here, and they leak here. They don't leak here because this was in the pan. So this is the tricky part. I've got to put a sealant here that doesn't dry very fast.
So
because I've got to put this together and torque it and everything.
Okay. Yes.
With this many people in here, I just keep thinking that I'm forgetting something. Like, oh, he forgot to put the crankshaft in.
No pressure, man.
Okay.
Okay, bolts.
All right, that means we did it right. Even if we did it wrong, we did it right.
Awesome.
So if you're wondering why they call these a bell housing, I will demonstrate. Call me Quasimodo. I'm about to show you why Corvair owners don't use the regular engine stands. Because now, all the work on this is done like this. That's it. Let's put it together.
Are you going new old stock?
Yeah, this is new old stock. Pick these up off the old eBay. Say, try it.
OEM.
I don't want to do all of these.
GM box.
.50. So everybody has rules, including GM, about where the rings should be. I have never pulled an engine apart that had the rings where it was supposed to be. And I bought a new old stock set of pistons, cylinders, and rings from GM for a Corvair. I took them apart to see where the rings were, and they were chaos. So I'm gonna tell you how I do it, and you can tell me why I'm wrong. So on this first ring, I put the expander down, and I put the ring gap, one up here at like, I don't know, 10 o'clock, and one at like 2 o'clock. It's just how,
That's what you're
it's
supposed to drive.
10 and 2.
I've never understood that though.
Now they teach you to drive underhand like at like 4 and 7.
Is that what they teach now?
Yeah, so that when the airbag goes off, it doesn't break your arms. They're like, we don't care if you
Fine.
crash, we just don't want you to die afterwards. This piston has definitely hit a valve. Probably a valve seat came out is what did this. Probably in a 140. But the piston's not hurt. I'm not afraid to use this. You will see when we're scouting through the desert and you're worrying your little heart about this, it's gonna be a waste of your time. Good morning, we're back. So I stayed a little bit late last night and got the rest of these in here. And this morning, we're torquing them. I want to hear this thing run today. We got a lot of work to do. Wash this.
Oil pump.
I wish we have some foam. Let's find some foam.
Gonna be our parts washer?
I wash all the parts. This was painted in the 80s by our friend Doug, and he loved blue. There's all sorts of blue stuff over this yard that I find, and I'm like, these are Doug parts.
That's
This
like
is
blue
one of them.
steel blue.
Yeah. Oh, blue steel. So if you watch Robbie's video, that color code is called Blue Jean Blue. The more you know.
All right, there's something that if you ever forget to do it, it's a really sad day. We're not going to forget it today. Today is going to be a happy day. And that is the cylinder baffles. We're going to put these in. They go right there. And that's what makes sure the air goes all the way around the cylinders. Oh. So some well-intentioned people that think they're helping cooling will leave these off. And what happens is now the head doesn't get any air and the cylinders get too much, but only the tops and sides.
I would have been that kid. I would have been like, I'm taking these off because it looks way cooler.
There it is. All right, this engine should have a harmonic balancer, but I don't have one. So we're gonna run this solid pulley because we're cheap and lazy. And we were just thinking, cheap and lazy racing. Yeah, that's cool. Today's engine building segment is brought to you by Cheap and Lazy Racing in conjunction with Edward Racing and Team MORR.
Got a full throttle battery mounted now. Always remember, mount your battery before the engine. So there might be still a little bit of gas, but it's new gas in it now. Most of it's drained out though.
Put a little bit of two-stroke, a little bit of marble in there so we don't forget.
A good amount?
I don't know, like 3 bites of cereal.
Sauce. Throw in the sauce.
I think that's enough.
All right, a couple more things, Matt. Add.
Now, we got all the sauce in there but the gas.
We're putting the covers on so that everything we did today doesn't get ruined overnight.
It's a very good idea.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Like?
That. So I came in last night and early this morning, finished putting this together, and I didn't have a camera guy, but We're basically ready to bolt this in. I got jerky now. Somebody brought me jerky. Thank you very much. It was delicious. It is delicious.
And then we unlock the.
It does. It will. It will lock.
Here.
Rich, go. Pull the jack back, Rhett. Okay. Okay. That's all you guys. Okay. Run it under there. We're gonna have to kind of skinny in there because we gotta miss that shifter.
Yep.
And just be aware that this could topple. Okay, steady it for a second. I'm gonna get my arm over this, okay? Okay, go on up, Rhett. You got about a mile.
And we're in. Oh. Kinda. We're crooked, but we're in.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna have to shimmy in on top of this motor. I don't know how this all works, but we've got to be too far back first. Now put it where you need it to go.
Me?
Jack up. Yeah, jack it up. Okay, hang on, we've got to
This thing's gonna start up today and go vroom, vroom. Then we're gonna go drive it.
Oh, hello there. I'm just in here putting these U-bolt caps on. That much closer.
Stop this brake drum so you can torque him a little bit.
Yeah, stop that brake drum so I put some heat on it.
That's enough heat.
Okay, now I'll do one more.
All right, we are just a couple fuel hoses and a fuel pump away from starting this up, I think.
It smells like my grandma's farm.
It does stink, doesn't it? This is
wild.
This is
It's like a new set of shoes.
No. Shoes are better.
All right, we're gonna get this hose put on, and then we're gonna come back when it's ready to crank. And hopefully the thing fires right up. We gotta adjust some lifters. I bought some new old stock lifters, and I think they were old enough that I needed to pump them up, like put them in oil and have them fill up with oil. And 4 of them have not pumped up. We were priming the engine. So I've got 4 I'm worried about. The rest of them are working perfectly. But I'm not that worried because I think they're just, the oil's like old and like waxy inside there. So I think it'll just clear right out. Okay, go for it. This side's running perfectly, although it is clattering. This side I cannot get adjusted, and the exhaust pipe is sucking in instead of pushing out.
What?
When in doubt, throttle out. So it's not working right, we're in doubt. So you go for a wide and let it run for a minute.
I don't know what he said.
Kill it. That's a bummer. Well, that's what I get for buying 60-year-old lifters. But the good thing is,
They're not hard to change.
they're not too hard to change. My new lifters did come today. These are some GM high performance, straight from the old general himself. We're gonna throw these in and kiss all our troubles goodbye.
I like the sound of that.
If you're wondering where all that white smoke's coming from, I told Rhett to put in about 4 tablespoons of Marvel Mystery Oil. So he put 4 tablespoons of Marvel Mystery Oil, and then he asked me, he said, how much 2-stroke do you want in this? And I said, I told you, I want 4 tablespoons.
No, the story is getting all sorts of
And so he put a bunch of 2-stroke in there too, maybe a little extra. So this is a rich.
I was told Marvel Mist Oil, and it was not 4 tablespoons, it was 4 cereal bites.
Yeah, 4 cereal bites. That's 4 tablespoons.
And then I was also told put 2-stroke, and I showed him the Royal Purple 2-stroke oil. I'm like, how much do you want of this in? He's like, the same amount as Marvel Mist oil.
Yeah, because I thought he was substituting Marvel, like the 2-stroke for the Marvel. I didn't care what was in there. Oh my goodness. Oh,
Probably hot.
Oh, that's hot. So it's relatively easy and very low risk to do what I'm doing right here. I just wish I didn't have to do it. I thought new old stock would be best, but there is some gook coming out of those lifters. I should have took them apart and inspected them. I didn't. That is a bent push rod.
Yeah, that puppy ain't straight.
Should we open one of these up and see what's in there?
Yes.
I was waiting for you to say that. Let's just do
Too
it.
hot to do that?
It's too hot to handle, it's too cold to hold.
What?
You ever heard that?
No.
That's black.
Ooh. Gross.
Why are they so gunky?
That's what was in them. That's not from the engine, that's from these. And there's a chance that if I just cleaned them up, these would be good. Probably had a little bit of oil in them, and then they sat on a shelf for 6 decades, and the oil decomposed.
Turn to not oil.
Yeah.
Sounds like what happens to dinosaur bones.
When it turns
Yeah.
to oil.
Okay, let's see down in there. Yeah.
What do we got?
Nothing. I mean, it's just there's some gook down there in the bottom. That's just, I should have took them apart. Why do I do what I do? I'm smarter than this.
Because you have 3 people standing around you that aren't smarter than
No.
this.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't have anybody talk me out of this. Somebody should have been like, dude.
Caitlin.
Okay,
My bad.
All right, guys. I know this isn't going super well today,
What are
but
you talking about? It's going great. Yeah.
okay, let me rephrase that. This is going so good right now,
There you go.
but hearing that engine fire up, that's the beginning of our racing career.
That is. It's like the official beginning.
Huge moment.
It's a symbol of a huge moment. So it is Friday afternoon. That means that everybody's going home, but Rhett and I are going to stay here and make this happen. And we're going to keep you around to see it. So while these guys are saying their long goodbyes, I'm saying, howdy ho, neighbor. Well, it's pretty late. Caitlin decided to stay here and see if this thing's going to run.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, so we're on the last one. We're just doing assembly, and then I'm gonna set the valve lash cold, because that's the way I do it, and these new lifters are the right style to do that with. And then we're gonna fire it up, and it's gonna just purr like a kitten.
Hey, Peanut.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, this is gonna need power steering.
Yeah.
Oh, that is hard.
Brakes are. This is just idling?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
We're gonna test the suspension. I think it needs some air let out of the tire.
Yeah, it's got way too much air. Can't hear it knocking anymore. All right, well, we kind of threw this together with junk parts in a dirty shop in a hurry. And I don't like what the other lifters put in there. It was like gritty. I don't know if they left those things in the desert and then they put them in a box and kind of cleaned them up. I don't know. All right, well, we did drive it, and that was our goal this week. So I guess we met our goal. Thanks for watching. Call me Quasimodo.
Make some wind chimes out of those.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of them.
Big old wind chime. That's awesome.